Welcome back, everyone. We're here with a new week of the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast. Excited for today's topic because it's going to be a controversial one for sure. So I, of course, want to get your input and would love to hear your thoughts as well. I do want this to be always a two-way conversation as much as we can. So leave those comments below on YouTube and leave them on those Instagram posts as well. That's the best way for us to see your comments and for other people to see them as well. So we always love this as part of a community of health professionals, personal trainers, yoga instructors, doctors, chiropractors, acupuncturists, integrative health practitioners, etc. Our goal is to be able to raise this industry, all the standards of all of us above. Because remember, if there's more of us doing great work, well, as they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. But what I want more than anything is to make sure that the clients and patients that you serve get to actually know you and they're able to work with you. The biggest issue with health coaching, I'm just going to use health coaching, but it could be any career within health coaching, from doctor to personal trainer to nutritionist, massage therapist, anybody, is that people need to actually meet with you first to be able to enjoy all of the benefits of listening and following through with the programs that you create for them, right? That's the biggest issue, is that you have the knowledge, you went to school, or you did a certification, you have some experience. Like, people need to get to know you. So the question really for today's show is this: should you look to get hired at a practice or start your own business? And I have some very strong views in this because I've been in this industry since I was 18 years old. And so I've done quite a bit. I mean, in this industry, meaning like, it doesn't mean that I've necessarily figured out, something groundbreaking necessarily, but I can tell you, I can save you 25 years of ups and downs to what's going to work best. I really can. And that's what I try to do through a lot of my mentorship that I'm work with other IHPs and other people, is that, listen, there are themes to this. There are things that we know to be true. And so I want to share that with you here today. And one of the very best things I can tell you is, should you start your own business or should you work for a company? Everybody, basically, the first thing you should do is you should work for a company. There's just no doubt about it. So whether you eventually want to own your own business or you're just not sure, work for a company. Work for a company that you admire, that you look up to, that you want to try to emulate. That's what I did, right? So when I first started in this industry, simultaneously, I was working with clients for nutrition as a nutritionist, certified nutritionist, as sports dietitian technically. And then I was working as a personal trainer. Okay, so that's what I was doing right from the get-go, about 18 years old, local gyms. Fine, all well and good. I did that through college, and it was great. Graduated, I said, okay, I'm going to get a desk job because that's what the world tells me to do, and I'm going to work at gyms at night. Well, that only lasted 6 months for the desk job. I knew I didn't want that. I knew I wanted a life of helping people in this health-based world. So I continued to get more certifications, all these great things, but I looked for what is the absolute best health club I could work at. And there, lo and behold, again, the universe sometimes provides. I got multiple letters in the mail. One day my dad's like, this company sent you a second letter. You might want to take a look at it. So I give my dad credit for that. And I did. And it was this beautiful 106,000 square foot health club that opened up in Boston. It ended up being one of the premier health clubs in the entire United States, part of the Millennium Companies. And I worked there and I learned what it's like to provide a high-end service to high-end clients. That was phenomenal. That gave me my start. And then I went from there. So I learned basically, what did I do? Like, why would you work at another company? You want to learn the systems. You want to learn the ropes, and you get paid at the same time. I mean, how great is that? You're basically doing an internship to learn how to become a better health coach, personal trainer, doctor, etc., learning the ropes and getting paid at the same time. It really is phenomenal. And so that's why what you want to do is you want to learn what you like about the business, the systems, and use those. And you can't copy it. I mean, you can't copy it exact, probably because you're under a non-disclosure or some other type of agreement. But at the same time, what I would say is you also learn what you don't like about it, right? Because you might love every organization, but it's not how you would do it as an individual. Great. So then eventually you might be able to put your own flair on it. So that's that, basically working for a business. I did that when young as a nutritionist. I actually got hired there as a personal trainer, but then I became a certified strength and conditioning specialist. So I started working with a lot more athletes, and I worked with celebrities when they came in town, which isn't honestly, it's not as glamorous as you would think by any stretch of the imagination. And as a nutritionist, I worked at least half my time really as a nutritionist with clients and other personal training clients. I've mentioned this before, but that was my niche. Again, everybody should have a niche. So, that was my niche. We had a great personal trainer that was a physical therapist. So we would send clients to them when they needed more physical therapy and so on and so forth. So it's good to have your main group of clients, let's just say personal training, but then a niche within that. And again, I was more of a body transformation nutritionist type person. And so that's what I did. But then got my degree as a doctor of naturopathy and went to work in a functional medicine practice. Well, truly, I would say more of an integrative health practice. Now, they didn't pay me to be there, but I rented an office. But when I rented that office in a 6-office practice where there was 2 chiropractors, 2 acupuncturists, 2 massage therapists, and then the front desk, I got to learn just basically the ins and outs. I didn't learn a ton, but I did learn a little bit about an integrative practice and kind of how the scheduling worked and people moving in, moving out. But it was a good start. Regardless, it was a good start. I didn't learn as much as I did from my first time around, but I'd already been in the game for a decade. I'd been in the game for a little while now. So not quite a decade, but you know what I'm saying. Enough time. So what I would said is after that, each time, so between the functional medicine practice and, getting from the gym, I opened up my own practice. Now, I don't know if it's the right move for you. I don't think it's the right move for everyone. And this is where the controversial part comes in. Because a lot of people are told a lot on social media that, you need to start your own business. You need to hustle 24/7, all of these things. And I just want to shed a little light on this. I always like to pull back the curtain. For the most part, people love to market to you online. And with that comes a little, I guess, Seth Godin said, all marketers are liars. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not being that harsh about this, but they don't really share with you the cons part of it, right? So when you own your own practice, you are responsible for everything within that practice. So your rent, your electricity, your internet, the phones, the front desk person showing up, the scheduling, the credit card processing, all of those things, all the bills, all the overhead, all the hiring, all of those things. Now, you can hire managers to help with all these things, but ultimately, it's your responsibility. So the question is, does that turn you off? Or do you say, okay, yeah, I can handle that as well. It's part of the gig, right? If your rents and your all that other stuff is $10,000 a month, are you okay, with having that over your head as your starting point? Listen, you need to cover that or you don't even get paid yourself. So you kind of have to look at that. Like, does that pressure scare you? And it may or may not. Now, again, with the virtual practice, as I've taught you to set up inside of IHP and on previous podcasts, there's almost no cost. There's literally almost no cost to set up a virtual practice, which is great. But also the cons are you're competing against a lot of other people, right? Because there's actually no physical location. So there's a very small barrier to entry, which is literally just getting online, right? So very small. The other thing with owning your own practice is just most likely, you have a practice and there's going to be people on your team. So you have to ask yourself, do you want people on your team or do you want to run a solo practice? And if you want to run a solo practice, I typically don't recommend opening up a physical location because the physical location is going to have cost to it and a lot of time consuming parts to it as well. So the reason why if you have a team, then the revenue that comes in through the team is going to help offset those rent charges, utilities, et cetera. Now, I always wanted a larger practice and I always wanted a team. One is because I want to help as many people as possible. Number two is I love creating jobs for people in this industry. So that was a big part of it. I mean, it really was. And so that's something I love doing. And I still do it to this day. I mean, I love being able to create great careers for people who are then serving people and helping more people. Because if you think about it, let's say you work 40 hours a week and you're actually seeing people for 40 of those hours. Most people aren't, but let's just say you're seeing 40. It's about 2,000 appointments a year, okay? So in the grand scheme of everything, in the entire world, how many people could I see? 2,000 people a year, basically, right? And over, let's say, a 20-year career for me, It's more than that, but about 20-year career, then I could have seen about 40,000 people, right? I mean, that's it. Now, you can vary because half-hour appointments, et cetera, but about 40,000. Well, my team has done over 250,000 appointments. So I could have helped 40,000 appointments. Some of them will follow-ups, of course. But my team, well, we've done now 5x that, right? More than 5x that, because I have a team. So now I help many more people. So again, like there's again, pros and cons to this. Now, another pro of, well, I gave you some cons of owning your own business, right? But a pro of owning your own business is that if you're willing to hire a team, and we'll get to the marketing in a moment, then you have almost unlimited earning potential, right? So let's say that on your own, you might be able to earn $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year. Honestly, the number doesn't matter too much here. You can just, whatever profession, okay. If the company wasn't taking a portion, how much of that could I earn, right? Okay, great. So that part is that. Now, some of it, of course, has to go to expenses if you own your own business. So you can have unlimited earning potential. Eventually, you cap out of the amount of hours you can do, right? There's only so many hours in the day, so you can't only work with so many people. But what you can do is you can hire a team, right? So I was doing 20,000 appointments a year. How many was I doing? 2,000, right? So my team was doing 18,000 of those that I was overseeing. Now, it's also a lot of hours when you're on your own business. I don't care what anybody says. Unless you're a solopreneur, which is an entrepreneur that's just on their own, solo, it's a lot of hours. If you're overseeing a team, of course, of the amount of people that I had on my team, which was about 18, right? So when you look at that, you say, okay, I'm overseeing all that and I'm doing my own appointments. It's a lot of hours. But if you love what you do and you do want to earn more income and you want to help more people, well, then it is the only way, right? It's kind of the only way. So that's, I'll tell you right now, if you want to own your own business, you have to have a drive, an ambition, and a passion that allows you to persevere through dealing with the overhead every single month to start to a new month. Oh, all that overhead is there. Now you have to earn income for that month. With dealing with employee-based issues, with dealing with payroll services, with dealing with phone, with dealing with things that need to be fixed in your location. And again, if it's virtual, then it's more just working with personalities and scheduling and making sure everybody's good to go. And it's an okay trade-off. It really is. Like, I do it to this day. And it's good. It's a good trade-off. I love it. Do I carry all of that with me? Well, I've learned how to really deal with it over the years. I have very little stress. I really do. Like, I have stressful days, but not a stressful life. There's a big difference. Because if you're going to be on your own and you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to grow a team, you have to learn how to deal with the overall burden of owning your own business. That's basically what it is. But there's one more major point. That this is one big, because I made it sound, I think I showed you the reality of owning your own business. However, here's why it should not even be an option for some people owning their own business. One, they have a lot of, they're just naturally more anxious. Again, you can work on that. But if you have a lot of anxiety and you have a lot of stress and you start your own business, it's not ideal. You end up suffering mental health-wise, your relationships, and all of your clients. But the second one is this. This is the big one that I was waiting to tell you. If you are not someone that likes to get out there and share your message with the world, it is going to be difficult to get clients. Meaning that in the world we live in right now, there's basically two ways to get clients. There used to only be really one good way, right? And then there was the yellow pages, all right? So you need to be going out there, talking with local businesses, creating a network of your own with other chiropractors, personal trainers, nutritionists, massage, yoga instructors, etc. So you refer clients to one another. You need to be doing lunch and learns. You need to be doing things to get out there locally, right? I guess there's three ways. So locally, this, even if you want to work with people around the world, work locally. The second one is social media. If you are not someone that likes to post on social media, talk to people about their health or whatever your expertise is, it can be difficult to get clients. Because if you're not willing to go out there, create your network, ask for referrals, and work locally, right? Word of mouth or online posting on social media, there's only one more way. And that is to buy traffic. That is meaning like Google AdWords. Someone's looking for a personal trainer in Austin, Texas. They type in personal trainer, Austin, Texas, and your personal training studio or your whatever shows up, okay? So are you willing to spend money on that? Well, you need to make sure that your website converts and that you're good at those complimentary consultations and all of those things that go into it, right? Or with Facebook ads or with anything else. But basically what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I'm going to get in front of people and I'm going to drive them to my website or a video series or an opt-in, whatever it is. So that's a whole other part of the business that as a business owner, you need to get good at. Right? You need to get good at that part too. And if you have no interest in getting on social media and be like, hey, this is what I'm cooking today. Here's the recipe. Here's why I'm doing it. And then the next day, again, 360 days of the year. It doesn't have to be that many, of course. So let's say 250 days of the year. You're saying, oh, one of the things that I love to do is make a smoothie every morning for breakfast. Here's why. I get all of my hydration. I get my vitamins. I get my minerals. I get my nutrients. I get slow digesting protein. All of these great things, right? Time released over an hour drinking it. So if you're not someone that loves to network, if you're not someone that loves to be on social media posting your content so people find you, or you're not willing to do the SEO, marketing, ad spend, it does not make sense because it's going to be a really difficult road to build up your business, right? So you want to think about that. Again, no one's really going to tell you this except me, who has no vested interest in whether you go to work for someone or you start your own business. So here's what I'm saying to you is this. There are amazing integrative health practices in the world. The first step should be to work for one of them anyways, or get your foot in the door, or do it part-time online, meaning like build your practice virtually part-time so that you can learn as you go and make a little bit of income as well, maybe because you're working another job. And so for a couple hours a day, you dedicate that to your moonlighting practice of building your health coaching business, whatever it might be. So that's what I talk about. Again, is there are trade-offs to everything, and they're both fantastic. You can make a fantastic income as a personal trainer, yoga instructor, chiropractor, doctor, integrative health practitioner working inside of a practice. And you can also make a fantastic living as all of those things on your own too. You have to know how you are made, literally your DNA. My DNA does not allow me to work within the confines of another practice. That doesn't mean that's good. It doesn't mean it's good, but that is how I'm built. And it would be difficult for me to ever change that because I wouldn't be living my authentic self. I have to be able to express myself in a certain way. I have to be able to try to take this vision that I have and get it out there to the world. I love building teams. And so I like the autonomy to be able to really do those things. So for me, again, if that sounds like you, then there's only one thing you can do, and it is start your own business. And yes, there'll be stresses, and yes, there'll be headaches, but I'll tell you, it's absolutely rewarding, right? It's 100% it's worth it for me. At no point ever have I said, oh, I wish I didn't go out on my own. I wish I didn't do this. No, it's never crossed my mind. From the age of 23, I'd started my own business. I'd worked for about 2 years, about 2 years inside of that higher end gym, maybe just a little bit longer. And then I went off on my own. I just knew that that was my destiny, that that's what I was supposed to be doing. I don't regret any of my previous experiences, but again, I'm living my purpose. So for you, I just ask you to look deep down and say, how can I best serve? What is my best purpose? What's the level of stress that I'm willing to deal with? And if I go off on my own, am I willing to do one of those 3 marketing-based strategies or maybe all of them? And if the answer is no, you can still go off on your own, but you have to say, how then would I get clients, right? And maybe you're an independent inside of an office, kind of like I was, and you're just working with the other doctors and other practitioners inside the office. So there are always possibilities. I would love for you to say, hey, if you disagree and you can think of another way and another reason, let us know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments below on the YouTube video or inside Instagram. Of course, I'd love to hear from you. And like I said, I think there isn't a wrong answer, right? There's no wrong answer. The only wrong answer is not getting started living your passion. So if you're passionate about becoming a health coach, join us over at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. No matter what your profession, we'll help you get the training, the certification that you need to be one of the top health coaches in the world. Then you can go off on your own, or you can work within another great practice. Remember, there's so many gyms, there's so many people that I'm talking about that are looking to hire integrative health practitioners into their practice that now, yeah, you're independent, you're on your own, but you're actually part of an organization. When a gym has 10,000 members and you're their integrative health practitioner, and sure, you're paying a percentage to the gym, it's kind of a nice hybrid model. So I'll talk about hybrid models in the future. That was not part of today's show, but hopefully I gave you something to think about. And again, no wrong choices. The only wrong choice is not getting started, living your passion in this amazing industry of health and fitness. All right, take care, everyone, and I will talk with you soon.